Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Simon Al-Siniak and welcome to Islamic Action TV, brought to you by Guerrilla Minded Productions. Welcome to another action-packed episode. This week we've had all sorts of stuff in the news. We've had Russia, we've had gangs, we've had Corbyn, you name it, everything's been up for grabs. And I think we need to sort of step back, look at it and see what we can extract from it, what judgments we can make from it, because I think it's all part of one big picture. So we've had this statistic since the beginning of the year. There have been 50 stabbings on the streets of London. That equates to one every 2 days. And it's been blown up into a big thing. There have been descriptions of turf wars. We've had David Lammy. I heard him earlier in the week, and this is what got me thinking about the topic. He came out and said... He's an MP, not England, right? Yeah, like a senator. So David Lammy is the Labour MP for Tottenham, where one of the murders recently occurred. And he put the blame firmly on drugs and turf wars, and he said it's to do with the rise of social media, the ability of people to put this stuff on like a black market outside the radar of the police, and people travelling up to Aberdeen and these places selling drugs and coming back and getting into this cutthroat competition, literally cutthroat competition with rival gangs, and this is what's escalating it. And it got me wondering, so what can that, social media, can that be the only explanation for why there's all this gun, why this is all this knife crime? And is it true? It's increasing? Is it true that internecine gangland warfare is on the increase, or is it just a little spike within a bigger picture? Are black people being demonised unnecessarily and unjustifiably? Because that's what it's all about. We're talking about black gangs in South London and the North Tottenham, these places. Are they being pinpointed? Is it a subliminal thing to get people accusing the wrong people for their problems at the time? We're going through Brexit, we're going through all these things, the Russian thing, so we've got these 2 victims of the poisoning, and the government looks all nice and clean now for having dealt with this by expelling Russian diplomats from the country. They're all strong and powerful and are dealing with this. And at the same time, it's the communities that are being blamed for the problems, and we've got anti-black and this anti-migrant, you can see it all snowballing and getting to the point where you've got this mistrust of your neighbour, people begin to resent each other, and I think have to be careful about who we blame for our problems and being able to see the bigger picture. So I just thought I'd put that out there and put it out for comment and see what people think.
Oh, Assalamu alaikum. Very, very interesting topic. One which is obviously close to my heart in terms of the work that I do privately, working with young people, helping young people in South London on the streets of notorious areas, which is crime-ridden and poverty-stricken, like Brixton and other places in South London and North London as well. So I think it's a very timely topic here.
But do we think that it is the case that things have suddenly got worse in the communities? Are people, have gangs become more violent towards each other? Have they increased in numbers? Is that really what's happening? Or are blacks just the whipping boys for wider social ills? I suspect the latter. That is my personal view, but somebody like you being on the ground may see it differently.
I think what it is that in terms of knife crime, if you're looking at knife crime, gun crime, and the surge in drugs, it is a new phenomenon, a recent phenomenon again. It was something that was prevalent in 2007, 8, 9, and 10, for 2-3 years from 2007 onwards, and then it kind of the work that I was doing in other organisations, youth organisations, anti-youth violence organisations, it helped to curb it, and the government commended many groups, organisations, such as ours as well, for helping to stem it. But once the funding was cut for a lot of these organisations, once this austerity programme was brought in by the government to do with the bankers and their and the bankers destroying of the economy and the thievery that the bankers did. All these frontline organisations and charities got cut and got hurt. So this support network was no longer there for the young people. And so once again, the prison industrial complex stepped in, the media stepped in, and Eastern Europeans, the Kosovans and the Russians, these people, and the Afghans and all these people pumping their millions of pounds worth of street drugs onto the street. And once again, it became a law for the young people. And now it's bubbled up again now, where guns have now become prevalent again. Gang turf warfare have become prevalent, but it was always there under the radar. But now it's been highlighted because the use of weapons have now become another feature in it again.
Yeah, so it's the case that the youth really don't have an outlet. They don't have any sort of recreation or any.
Well, it's austerity's been cut.
Yeah, so it's about communities, isn't it? Building communities. If you don't have community support, it's not just funding for organisations like legal aid, restrictions on criminal legal aid.
Look at all the barristers now.
Barristers,
they're on strike.
Barristers on strike. You can't get representation if you're accused of murder.
It's falling apart.
So what are people supposed to do? I mean, people are just being banged up and going to jail without representation and being convicted and then coming out as the old lag. So they're not getting the proper support. Probation
They've been educated in prison.
Yeah, exactly. So and probation services are being cut as well, so they've got no support when they emerge out of prison. So when they see the easy money being made from buying drugs on the street, then that's the way it's the easiest route out, isn't it? It's the easy street is what they it's the only thing that's left to them, because they've got no other options available to them. But as I say, I think at the same time it's being used as well to demonise blacks. I do think that. I think it's it's a timely thing with the government approaching these crucial issues facing our country to attack black people. So we've just, I think, got to do what we can as a community to stand strong.
I totally agree with you on that. I think one of the biggest things that was used for to get Britain out of Europe and the Brexit strategy was the fear of immigrants, the fear of dark-skinned people, whether they were Afghans, Arabs, Eastern Europeans, Bulgarians, Gypsies. It was this fear of, if you're white, you're going to have Abdul as a neighbour, or you're going to have, I don't know, Pietro as a neighbour or somebody, or Boris.
This goes back to the 60s, as if you vote Labour, you get a black as a neighbour.
If you vote Labour, vote nigger. If you vote Labour,
I can't remember which borough that was, but it was a leaflet. It was a leaflet.
Birmingham.
Yeah, it was a borough of Birmingham, which is seen as outrageous at the time. But it's only 50 years ago. And,
exactly.
It's a long time in sort of the history,
politics,
in the history of the world.
Yeah, it's not long.
And these things are latent, aren't they? They resonate amongst.
Yeah, it's a card you can keep on pulling, like Holocaust denier, or it's a card like what they use in the Corbyn. You can always pull this race. You can always pull on people's fears, which Hitler did it skillfully. Totalitarian regimes always do that. Find a scapegoat and use a mob mentality, and then the people will hit. We get them to hit. So the Brexit was used exactly that way. Now, because of Theresa May's local elections and the fact that she's completely lost, any credibility among people, working class people, or people in communities where like disadvantaged communities. Let's pick on a new scapegoat. The young black males are the new threat. The predatory black male. Let's play into the fear of the predatory black male who is this corrupting our society. It was almost like in the 60s with the Beatles and the Stones. Like, would you let your dog go out with a Rolling Stone? Because Mick Jagger had big lips and looked black and was almost ape-like looking. They were almost ape-like looking. So this fear of this marauding black male in our inner cities, running riot and stuff.
Yeah, it resonates to this day, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because people are young enough to remember, but old enough to remember that, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think, and
it's like a Tory ploy again.
I quite agree.
It's a Tory ploy.
So we've just got to expose it, be aware of it, and you know, although you describe it as a genuine problem as a result of
no, we have to deny there is genuine problems where young black kids are killing each other. That is wrong. Young black kids are selling drugs. Adult black men are giving young black children under a certain age drugs to sell because they can't get arrested at a certain age. The communities are being affected, so people are getting hooked on crack, hooked on heroin, getting hooked on these designer drugs. So that is wrong. Getting young boys, young girls to be mules to travel to places around the British Isles, whether it's Scotland or Ireland or Wales, and come back to London selling drugs is wrong. So nobody is supporting and saying the police shouldn't do a genuine job in going in to those communities, the black community, and weeding out those vicious, evil bastards who are destroying the community. But at the same time, we have to understand that it's a sensitive issue and understand that with the racism that's involved, with the use of political posturing by the Tory government and austerity and stereotyping, the community shouldn't be drawn into, into throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. I mean, what's becoming clear to me is austerity. It was seen as like the remedy for what was seen as, you know, the financial predicament we're in, but it seems to me to be being used as a tool to stoke bad feeling against communities and against individuals.
And to limit funding for very desperate groups.
That's right.
There's no need for it anymore. Even the Bank of England, people have come on record and said that we can come out of it now. In fact, the Tory government said by the end of the year it should be over, right?
That's right.
He said that last year. But they want to keep us in it because it's a good, effective tool to say, oh, we haven't got any money, nothing's left, you know what I mean? So we can deny frontline services again to those groups. Because it's easier if everybody's in prison for them and these young kids get railroaded. That means you can't get a passport, you can't get a visa, you can't travel out the country, your career's blighted, we don't need to employ you. And you must remember that a lot of these young people are coming from generations of people who've been on the dole all their life, coming from impoverished communities where the alcoholism is rife, domestic violence is rife, sexual abuse of women is rife, gang rapes of girls is rife. These are very closed off communities where poverty, alcoholism, are run rife. And these kids are coming from these environments, fatherless environments, broken homes. Many of them are in foster care, whatever. In homes coming out of these government homes, and they're very damaged young people. Not in every case, but in a lot of the cases.
But they're becoming the threat, aren't they? That's the point. By being vulnerable, they're being transformed into these evil, marauding. You could be next on the hit list, and that's the consequence of them being in this predicament, isn't it? Anyway, it's important to put it out there. Don't be demonised.
Can I just add? But what would you think is the Islam? Because obviously, as the Islamic channel that we are, what do you think the Muslim? Because I know we've been getting we got messages saying that the Muslims in North London had organised 2 meetings about the rise of gang, gun, and knife crime. So I was quite impressed that these Asians, and it's not really affecting them as such at the moment, did get together and were concerned. I think it could be in West London as well, like places like Brent and North West London. But there was a concern, and it was the Asian Muslims who did actually respond and trying to do something. What do you think in terms of Islamically we should be doing as Muslims, and do you think that's a step in the right direction that these Asians have got together to do that, or do you think there's an ulterior motive behind it? Because a lot of drugs do come from Pakistan and Afghanistan, not the heroin is coming from that area. So do you think that we should be cautious, or do you think that we should say that it's a step in the right direction that they're doing as Muslims?
I think what's important is as Muslims. I mean, you can be a white Muslim, you can be an Asian Muslim, you can be a black Muslim. But if you demonstrate solidarity, if you say this is our shared problem, we're all facing austerity, we're all affected in some remote way, whether it's NHS cuts, whether it's being unable to go to hospital, whether it's accessing services, whether it's getting legalised.
As a National Health Service for you in watching from America or Sweden
just to be clear.
Yeah.
So if as Muslims you can identify with disadvantaged people,
yes, your communities,
it's reaching out in that sense, and me as a white Muslim, being able to empathise as much as I can.
But can I just jump in? But you do find that a lot of these young kids, if they do get caught, go to prison, or if they're in those really desperate communities, do tend to get into Islam as well. Yes. That is a phenomenon that that the government was really worried about as well. A lot of these young kids, and obviously a lot of them be siphoned off to go fight for ISIS.
Alright, you're talking about being radicalised.
Radicalised, yeah, that is another aspect of it. But I think there is a part Muslims can play, as you're saying, in the communities if they show solidarity with the issues that the community is facing rather than be separate. I mean, now we've got this open a mosque day, haven't we? Obviously, that's to do with the rise of Islamophobia, obviously. But we can transform it into also helping young black people if this gang problem's happening. Reach out to the black community.
Well, we have talked in other episodes about some sectors of the Muslim community being insular, without wanting to point fingers or name names. It's
Asians.
It's a fact of life that some communities are prejudiced, are racist. Whether it's in shop, the person's in the shop selling his wares, or or the father offering his daughter for marriage, whatever it happened to be. We've talked about it, and we need to break down those barriers and make sure we can empathise. People not say, "Oh, it's just I'm all right," Jack mentality. It's not our problem, which is an easy thing for some Muslims to fall into. I'm a Muslim. I'm all right. I'm living my nice life. I'm not part of that black gangster knife crime thing. That's nothing to do with me. Whereas we're all part of the same. We're all under the government aegis, aren't we? We're all facing our own.
Well, the Islamophobia. Yeah. This is similar to the Moors in Spain.
The Punish a Muslim Day. I mean,
exactly.
On Tuesday, a lot of the Muslim girls and mainly girls in the office couldn't come to work because of these leaflets that were sent around saying, if you come out on the 3rd of April, we're going to punish you, whatever that means. So not that only. I think
one of them was nuke Mecca. If you can nuke Mecca, which obviously is the most likeliest one. Obviously, you would get a megaton bomb and drop it on Mecca. That obviously so. Obviously, I took it seriously when they talked about nuking Mecca for 200 points. But I don't know if you could redeem your points. Maybe you could go and redeem them in some way. If you wasn't able to do what you're supposed to do, like could you go online and redeem the 50 points and 20 points? Who administered the points? Was it a coin system? Was it a Bitcoin? I mean, how did it work?
That's right. So, I mean, that meant that not only Muslims, but Asians were staying home because they would see this, I might be identified as Muslim, so I'm liable to be punished. So, I mean, things like that, we just need to sort of empathise and see this is not your problem, this is our problem, this is my problem.
Exactly.
And, I think it's a great thing that if mosques have talks about knife crime or get people talking about knife crime within the mosque, I think that's great, because a mosque is a community centre. It's not just a
male club.
Yeah, exactly. A private members club. It's supposed to be open door. So I think that's all to the good.
Oh, well, fantastic! Then I think that I see the link. I can really see the link between what the demonising of the black community, and I can see the link between the rising knife gun and knife crime, and also a methodology as well as how the Muslim community can help to get involved, not just sit on the sidelines and say that's happening to them over there and it's not me. Because remember that famous thing, they came for the Jews and then they came for the communists, and I didn't say anything.
Because we're talking about demonised communities. I mean, if you're on the end of punish a Muslim Day, if you feel on the end of that, then you should also be able to sympathise with a black person being demonised because you see it as a potential knife wielder. So
the black boys could be under suspicion now, isn't it?
There isn't a difference.
It's true. And my son could be under suspicion for being totally innocent. I mean, look, Trevor Martin, the guy in America, he had a hoodie on and he was shot for wearing a hoodie because of that climate of fear of the predatory black male gangster, hood gangster. Like you can't wear a hood.
Yeah.
And they want to bring back the sus laws and stop and search now. So now they're blaming, Labour for getting rid of Dan Abbott, for saying, we shouldn't be heavy-handed with our policing. But they say that unless we stop young black kids on the street, how are we going to find they've got guns on them? Well, they're not going to walk, they're cleverer than that. I mean, come on, if that worked, it would have worked before. It has never worked.
And that led to Stephen Lawrence, didn't it?
There you go.
So, I mean, the Stephen Lawrence thing happened because black people was perceived in a different way. Well, Stephen Lawrence must have been asking for it because he was outdoors at that time.
In an all-white area,
And
on himself.
Prejudice being generated.
Yes.
And that all stems from as you say, the sus laws.
Yes.
Being used as a way to sort of identify or pick out black people.
Yes. He was. Yeah.
So, I mean, have we learned anything from Stephen Lawrence? I think there's a big question for another day.
It's for another video. Anyway.
So with that, I bid you farewell. So remember to subscribe to the channel, those who haven't already. We've got loads, but we still need more. and I wish you farewell, and until the next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.